What is your number one recommendation to any agent to do right now that can make the biggest impact in their agency moving forward?
I find that a person can sit there and plan and get everything dialed in is not going to be anywhere near as good as someone that.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes.
Right now, while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
We took our notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies led Craig and I to selling more than $10 million in premium in the last 2 years.
On this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the same results.
Just go to live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
If you jump on this call with us, we're certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.
What's your favorite paid lead source?
Favorite paid lead source, the hottest one at the moment. I mean, I think you always have to kind of keep checking. EverQuote's been doing really, really good for me lately. I'd like to do some ILBs, but I'm in Ohio, and my boy George,
Mr. George,
we actually went through training at the same time. He just is a lot smarter than I am, and got introduced to you guys a lot earlier than I did. And he is just a tenacious force of nature, and
he really is.
He really is. And the fact that he came from the corporate side of things, so he obviously has a leg up, and I'm around here still trying to figure out how to run a business and sell and do all that stuff. He had it not dialed in, and he's off to the races. So,
interesting thing about George is, so he was client number one. Yeah. And he came in, and we didn't, COVID came and all that. And we were really, at that point, just Jason and I were doing well, and everybody's asking us, what are you going to, what are you doing? And this and that. And then he came to us, he said, hey, I want to do this, but I want to get, I think he got 8. I want to say
no. He got 4.
Was it 4? Okay, so he started like I did, and we're like, oh boy! And then very quickly, though, he moved to 8 or 10 or whatever it was. He moved it up really quick, and we're like, dude, whoa, settle down. And he goes, look, I worked on the corporate side. I would go into all these agencies every day before COVID, when you would go into agencies, and he's like, I saw what the guys that are crushing it are doing, and I mean, I'm not going to wait. Why wait?
We actually tried to talk him out of it. So he got 4 right off the bat, and we're like, dude, it's just a lot of spend right off the bat. Most people, I mean, it's kind of a kick to the gut if you start off that way. The first couple of weeks are going to be a little bit slower. So we try to talk him off of it, but he's like, no, I want to do this. I want to. Okay, well, we'll help you. He was on every weekly meeting, and man, what an implementer.
Yep. Absolutely. And, success leaves clues, and, I'm just trying to snoop around you guys and pick up a few things.
Yeah. I think it's almost this you have to kind of, the contrarian approach, right? Most people in the market, they don't make money in the stock market because they sell when it's low and they buy when it's high. Right. And so the same thing, he went in, he got more than most people would be comfortable with. When he saw, I'm not getting enough, he didn't say, this doesn't work. He knew it worked because he'd seen it work. And he said, I want more. And then he pushed. And then once everything bakes, you get to the middle of the bell curve, boom, right? It just took off. Yep. And now he's past us. He's an animal.
Getting another agency. I just, I know
he's got that fat Michigan premium coming in now, so that's very helpful.
He's younger than me, but I want to grow up and be like him someday. So,
exactly.
So I'm getting another Teledude fired up next week.
Nice.
So again, like I said, I want these phones to just ring off the hook, and you don't do that by continuing to play tiddlywinks.
Right. It's just, we talked about it with David Duford on the previous interview, where it's this having the abundance mentality instead of the scarcity, where it's like, look, I'm not going to count and go, oh my gosh, we missed one. It's like, no, I'd rather have too many, and we're going to get back to them. right? You're eventually going to circle back. They're your bird dog. They're finding them. So it's just cool breaking free of that, because I certainly had scarcity mentality and counted every little penny and worried about this and that. And once you let that go, it just opens up, right?
I think everybody does or should at some point. I mean, no one goes into this willy-nilly. I mean, there's a lot of money to buy an agency or to all of it. You know what I mean? It's you're betting big. You're playing at the big dogs table. You know, it's not like some other businesses where you don't have to
bet big, but with good information.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Or you just have your next door neighbor who's your Allstate agent who now works for corporate say, hey, you should buy an agency, and go, why not?
Sounds like a good idea.
Sounds like a good idea. Why not? You know?
Yeah.
There is a version of that story for everybody, though. It's like, it's so funny. That's why we always ask people, like, how did you get into the industry? It's most of the time you're doing something and either friends or family's like, hey, man, why don't you try this? It was like, huh? I never even thought about that. And then
insurance gets
the ball rolling.
And my thing was I was looking at businesses to purchase, because I knew I didn't want to work for anybody else anymore. Right. And I'm kind of a closeted computer geek, and I was looking at managed services business, and my buddy said, yeah, just buy an agency. I mean, you have the background. It just makes more sense to you. And and it did. But, it's,
love it.
People can't go into business for themselves unless they're ready to work hard.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And that's okay.
At least for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody sees the end product and they think that owning a business is easy, but it's like you're wearing twice as many hats. I don't care if you were a manager somewhere else. You're wearing the manager hat, the employee hat, the owner hat. I mean, you're wearing them all throughout the day and switching hats.
Yeah.
There's a lot at first.
I just fixed the sink in the break room. I mean,
right.
Yeah. You gotta get that done.
It is amazing, all those different hats and the so many things that you learn doing this too. Like, not just like you're learning things, but you're also learning things about yourself. Talking about, I don't know, did we talk about it on here or before, was the ups and downs. Like, I've learned a ton about myself and handling those ups and downs and really being aware of it. Like, Jason, I'll be talking, he'll go, wow, you really are pretty aware of what you do. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm trying to work on that, and just like, and there's this duality. Good salespeople are somewhat of an empath, right? Like you can feel the other people's emotions. That's what makes you good at it, is being able to connect. But then that can, when the ups and downs, that also can affect a lot. So you have to be able to, it's balance, right?
1,000%. And it's it could go very poorly for people that don't, that's why I just keep myself as busy as humanly possible so I can't get myself into trouble.
Right.
I love that you just
no drinking for me.
1,000%.
What's that?
We just doubled up.
I
said that's why I don't drink, because that can go down the rabbit hole. And then he loves that you used 1,000% because that's his favorite thing.
I just started doing that. Yeah, I 10x the 100%.
But I 10x'd his 1,000%. I say 10,000%.
We've gotten into some really high percentages.
Yeah,
yes. he 10x'd my 10,000% yesterday.
You can't double stamp a triple stamp.
Right. Unless you quadruple stamp it.
But we do.
Every day I'm in here quadruple stamping stuff.
Nice.
Love it. Okay, so we talked about leads. Are you doing anything right now for referrals for your agency?
Am I doing anything for referrals?
Do you have any kind of a referral program or anything?
Well, friends and family, send them a gift card and a thank you. Obviously, referrals are the big part of the business. My big thing is I train everybody to ask. When you're onboarding somebody, it's fresh, it's new, it's exciting. Well, it's time to ask them who they can help and ask them for specific people. And hey, if we find somebody that that'll say, yeah, we can talk to them. Hey, we'll even give you a little Amazon or a gift card. Do you like Starbucks? Hey, thanks. Nothing crazy. Nice. But I think the biggest thing is just to ask. I mean, and you train that to, hey, I want you to ask them for a referral. And I want you to ask them, where do they have their life insurance outside of work? Because again, my background is life insurance and investments. I really want to get to the point where in my agency, I can just do that part of the business. and, have the property and casualty side kind of run by a manager, and I can just come back to just being an advisor for folks, even though some people don't like us to use that term. And I don't understand that because I give advice all day.
Right.
Another thing that just with the referrals, even if somebody doesn't have, like, maybe the resources aren't there to be sending out Amazon cards or some little gimme, a handwritten thank you card
100%
goes 10 million miles.
Absolutely. I give everybody, when they get hired, they get a stack of cards, greeting cards, and they're blank. So it's either a thank you card or a referral card or a sympathy card or, whatever. I mean, it's like, just drop a note. I know your penmanship is horrible, but just drop a note.
Yeah.
I don't know if the young kids are still, if the under 20 somethings feel that way, but they'll probably like, what is this thing? But I don't know.
What's a pen?
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
But it's remarkable because you do not get very many handwritten anything anymore.
Absolutely
and
not.
I mean, everybody that listens to this has heard me talk about Randy at Tiffany. The amount of jewelry that has been purchased because of his handwritten thank you card is remarkable. So it goes a long way.
I like it.
It goes a long way. What about new clients? When you bring somebody on, they purchase with you, they trust you to be there. I can't use that A word, I don't think.
Yeah,
I trust you to be that professional who's going to help them with their insurance.
Wow.
What does that look like? Is there a process behind that, or is it just adios? What happens?
Completely Lord of the Flies. It's crazy in here. No, I mean, the process is, if it's one of my team that gets them onboarded, you're obviously getting all the information up front. Depending on when their policies start is when you're following up on making sure the documents or any outstanding documents are collected and things like that. And my goal is once a week, generally on Fridays, to make at least welcome calls myself to say hello, leave a message if you ever need anything, or if I talk to them, kind of, oh, you love so-and-so. Yeah, they're great. I'm glad they're on the team. I'm glad you're a part of the family. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out and just have those kind of calls. And there's obviously, we want to send out thank you notes to, hey, thank you for your business, put in a business card and ask for referrals and kind of go from there. That's lather, rinse, repeat. That's kind of the process.
Love it.
So what do you do for retention? Do you focus on that at all? Or is there anything that you can recommend that maybe you do for retention?
Again, I don't think it's scalable. And as I get bigger, I know that my personal involvement will be less, but I really try and get involved as much as I can to go through renewals and talk with people. I do have my team make sure they get to their first renewal and kind of handle that. And it's part of their comp plan is to, get them to their first renewal, or, hey, there's some money coming back. But again, one of our mission statements here is to be our client's first and last call, to be someone that, hey, man, I've got a question about whatever. I'm going to give Mike or whoever my agent is here a ring and just get their thoughts on it. And that's just kind of what we want to bring to the table for our clients is someone that can, if not know the answer, get you the answer as quickly as possible. And a lot of people see value in that. And because that's the other than price thing, because that's what's so frustrating about, especially the property and casualty businesses, is so many of the large carriers are racing themselves to the bottom by talking about how cheap. That's just
right.
It's doing everybody a disservice, but that's why we talk about the extra stuff. And hopefully it resonates with our clients and they want to stick around. And so far, that's one of my prouder metrics is I have a very good retention rate. I want it to be better, because again, I truly want them to be a part of the family. So
yeah,
nice.
I wish that some of the marketing out there would pivot away from the race to the bottom.
Yeah,
it just is pounding that message. There's only one way to continue to get cheaper.
Correct, and I don't like that way, because it means I have to make a pivot.
Right. Yeah, and we certainly aren't going to be able to deliver on what we're providing if there isn't enough dollars to support it, right? And that's why some of these 800 numbers, you get some horror stories. And so
absolutely,
I think it's important that we, and it's like almost every conversation is unwinding that whole thing, the preconceived, indoctrinated mentality that they have about insurance, right? Nobody wants to talk about it. They want it to be cheap, and you have to you have to slow them down and unwind it. Yeah.
And that's why I would want national marketing for a lot of carriers. But there's one carrier in particular that's just got a bunch of letters, and they do a great job of making it about being part of the club and being a status symbol and being in the part of the in crowd. And I'm like, that's what it's supposed. I mean, that's what good branding does. And I don't know why smart people at other big carriers don't realize that.
Right. Be in the club.
Yeah, being in the club. It's dun 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 dun. I mean, it's where you want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
There you are. So curious, we talked a little bit about motivating the team. Now, besides listening to this podcast, which I know is probably the number one motivator, how do you keep yourself motivated?
The podcast is a perfect time because my commute in is about the length of the podcast. So it's perfect. So it fits wonderfully into the schedule. How do you keep yourself motivated? I'll tell you one thing is avoid engaging with the negative people that are the guys and gals that just bitch about everything. I mean, And oftentimes when you get, that's one thing I like about the insurance dudes, the teledudes environment is there's not that. And because I always get nervous when I get into groups like that, I'm like, all right, who's going to be the negative Nelly that's just going to pour ice water on everything all the time? But it's not like that. And I know the groups of people and the folks that I've been working with and talking to on those Wednesday calls have really generally been uplifting and helpful, not complaining about whatever this is going on or whatever that's going on, the who moved my cheese type thing. Things are going to happen, It's how we react to it is what makes us whether we're going to be a winner or a loser. I mean, crap happens to everybody. So, I mean, the biggest thing is just stay away from negative people and look at my kids, I mean, my oldest will be 13 and my youngest will be 9 and, they go to Catholic school. That stuff's not cheap, man. No. So I gotta go, man.
Yeah. Yep. Well, 20% are going to create 80% of the results, right? And for the other 80% who are only getting 20% of the results, they're either going to commiserate and complain and blame everybody else, or they're going to figure out a way and they're going to ascend, right? And get into that 20%. Because it's available, you can get there, but there's got to be some changes that have to be made, and I think it starts with the dude in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Speaking of change, what do you think are some of the biggest changes that you see affecting our agencies in the next couple of years?
Man, so many changes. There's a portion of the public that's always going to want a person, an advisor. Oh, I said it. But someone to talk to, and don't have to dial 1-800 and sit in hold for however. So the good thing is, I think that's always going to be the case. But like I said, the thing that scares me is a lot of carriers racing that price to the bottom. Who knows? I mean, more carriers may make people just be independent. We've seen it with some big carriers that have turned their agents into independents. And if, again, you just have to be able to be prepared for any of that. The great thing is the ability to communicate and engage with people on different levels is better than it's ever been. But I think it's a responsibility of the business owner to realize that you need to be able to engage with people how they want to be engaged with. And if some people are keyboard cowboys or cowgirls, you got to email or text and do all that stuff. I'm more of a phone person, but you have to be flexible and embrace the tools that come to you as they come, and don't get all bent out of shape when things change, because things are always going to change.
Yeah.
It's just the winners figure out a way to change with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, what a phenomenal time here. We're going to dive into the last piece, which if you've been listening, then you know what it is. What is your number one recommendation to any agent to do right now that can make the biggest impact in their agency moving forward?
Just do. I mean, I find that a person can sit there and plan and get everything dialed in is not going to be anywhere near as good as someone that puts a plan together and goes. Just put the plan together and go. course correct on the way. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. You're going to make a bad hire. You're going to have a bad engagement with an employee. You're going to say the wrong thing to a client. You're going to lose business. But the thing is, put together the time where you're working on your business, put your plan down and go. Oftentimes we have paralysis from analysis. I get stuck in that where I'm like, I'm sitting here trying to figure everything out. Well, it's time to go, because at the end of the day, we have to produce, because we don't get paid until everybody else gets paid. So let's get it going. And that's why I like working with this group, is because it helps me, give me the ability to work on the business and not necessarily in the business, so I can scale. Because again, that's the way this business model is, and the way the market is laying it out, you have to be grinding a lot more than you ever have. And a lot of carriers' compensations are based on people that are growing and not just sitting back and enjoying the twilight years. Well, you either sell your business or have people work under you that are still driving it. So that's 100%. My goal. Yep, that's my goal.
Throughout history in business, anybody who's been successful or been at the top, in the top 5%, 1%, whatever, they made decisions, they took action, and they created momentum. And that's precisely what you're saying there. And it's 100%. It's not necessarily building the plane as you're taking off, but close to it. Yeah. Right.
Right. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you're not going to be putting in the last rivets as you're at the end of the runway. I don't think that's a good idea.
Close.
But close. I mean, you're filling the tires right at the beginning of the runway.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going. Keep pressing the pump.
Harder. There we go.
Yeah.
So Mike, how can all the insurance dudes or dudettes out there on the interwebs get a hold of you or see a little bit about the Monaghan empire that you're building?
Well, it's my OnlyFans. No, I don't have an OnlyFans because, good Lord, oh my gosh. Well, I guess people are kind of into middle-aged, overweight. No, but anyway, Monaghan and Associates. We're certainly on the Facebook, and heck, just if you're ever in Dayton, just come on in, man. Just look me up. I try and get my name out there, but yeah, Monaghan and Associates, and just look me up, and if you have a question, you need help, the answer is yes.
Love it.
Thanks, dude. Mike.
What a great time. Thanks for jumping in, and we'll see you next week.
I appreciate you guys.
Call. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good one.
Bye.
Hey, what are you still doing here?
Well, while you're still here and while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
Yeah, if you weren't listening before, we took notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies did help Craig and I write over $10 million in premium in the last couple years.
And let me tell you, on this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the very same results.
Again, that's live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
And if you jump on with us, we are certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.